Three, two, one. We are on record, and in this video, we're going to talk about the new PMP certification exam content outline. If you didn't know, the exam will be changing next month in July 2026. Around, I think, after July 2nd, the new exam content outline will take place. But before we get into this and before everyone is go into a frenzy of fear of not being able to pass this exam if you're studying right now, let me give you some reassurance that some of the changes with this exam, major changes, is not with the actual content, is more with the structure of how the exam is outlined based on the exam content outline. So I'm gonna dive in here. We're gonna talk about this. I'm gonna share my screen with you. So the exam content outline is right here. This is a new version. The last one was in July 2021, but this one is new for July 26. And as you can see already, they've updated the brand colors. I like it. Purple is good. Purple for royalty. So let's get into this, and I want to just show you what has actually changed directly about this exam. Uh, and before we talk about that, if you're studying for the exam right now, if you've studying for some time, or you're new to studying for the exam and you're studying for the new exam, or you are studying for the previous version as effect right now, you need to read and review and keep by your side the exam content outline. Reason being that every question that is on the exam is mapped back to this exam content outline. So, why is it important? There are tasks associated with each domain: the people domain, the process domain, and the business environment domain. There are tasks associated with each domain. For example, the people domain has about 14 project management tasks as it pertains to the project manager, duties and responsibilities that the project manager must execute in order to effectively lead a project within that domain. So, in the people domain, most of the tasks that you will be faced with are leadership tasks. How well do you collaborate with stakeholders? How well do you collaborate with your project team members? How well do you collaborate with your project management colleagues, like the functional manager, or maybe someone you are working in procuring resources? So in procurement management, how well are you working with vendors when it comes to acquiring materials for your project? So that is one domain. So you have to be able to execute those project management tasks to successfully not only lead projects in the real world, but for the exam. So you have to score either target or above target. So anything uh, that's below target will not be adequate for passing this exam. So, talking to you about the exam content, the new PMP certification exam content line in the July 26th version of the exam content line. Here it is on the screen. And what you can see is that it's still three domains: people, process, business, environment. But what has changed is the percentages right away, the percentages compared to the previous or the current exam versus what's coming in the future. The people domain has changed from 42% to 33%. So less questions or less focus. A 30%, 33% of the exam is focused on people, leadership, interaction with people, people skills, resolving people problems. Those are your people problems, right? Because those questions usually speak to a conflict of interest or a disagreement or someone's performance on a project. And that's what you have to resolve as a project manager. You must have the leadership acumen to resolve those personal problems, not project problems. And that's one thing I try to, if you've trained with me or you've heard about me or you're thinking about training with me, that's one thing I try to get exam candidates to understand. You have people problems, people domain, you have process problems, process domain, then you have business environment problems, BE, right? So each question is going to present and background, like this is the background context of the issue. And then there's also some type of trigger that is activating the problem that you have to resolve within the question. And so that may be done in a passage or a short line of text to put you in a frame of mind. What would PMI do, or what would I do as a project manager based off the project management framework that's been presented and developed by the Project Management Institute? That is the knowledge that you're using to answer these questions. That's the knowledge you're going to use on the exam. That is the knowledge you're going to take with you back to your organizations to help you be a better project manager. And we say better. It's not that you're not a good project manager now. Studying for the PMP certification exam does three things for you. Number one, depending on what position you are in, if you are transitioning into project management or you're trying to obtain a new position you're applying for, it's going to help you get an interview and possibly get in there and get that job. The second one is, if you're already in a project management position, you may need to pass this exam so you can keep your position, all right, or get promoted. So there you go. There's another one that's tied to the actual job and position itself. The third thing the exam is going to do to you, it is going to enhance your current knowledge, practices, methodologies, your perspective on how you should lead and manage projects. That's what studying for the PMP exam will do for you. I think that is probably the best benefit you're going to get out of this, is studying what it means to plan a project based on a structure or framework that is supported by research, that's supported by practitionership worldwide. Project managers, we are practitioners. You do the work. We do the work. We don't just talk about it. We actually do the work, right? And so that's what you're going to get when you walk away from studying for the exam. You actually have your certification. So the second part or the second domain for the exam is processes. Processes initially, or in the current exam, it's 50% of the questions are mapped back to project management processes. But in this version, it's 41%, right? So we go from 50 to 41%. Less questions about processes, less questions about processes, less questions about people, leadership. And so we've taken less from people leadership. So we've taken less from people leadership. We've taken some percentages, some of those questions, and moved them from the processes, and they are going to the business environment. So what does that mean? PMI wants you to know more about the business environment on the exam. So we're going from what is currently 8% of the questions on the PMP certifications are from the business environment, which it equates to about 14 questions out of 180. Right. So 14 questions. Now we have 26% of the exam questions mapped back to the business environment, right? So the PMI, that's the signal to PMI, is like they want project managers to be more business savvy, get more in the business analysis process, right? Not just be there to go talk to the financial person when it comes to project management, but be able to actually get involved with it. So, and then the current version, you're more focused on the process. How do we get contracts? What are the different type of contracts? How do you deal with vendors? Those are the business environment aspects of it. The earned value management formulas. Like, hey, how much of this we will have at the completion of the project? Are we going to get our ROI on the money we and time and resources we invested in this project? So those are the biggest the biggest change of the exam when it comes to the percentages. So we have what 33% of the questions map back to people, 41% of the questions map back to processes, and then 26% maps back to the business environment. So that's where we are right now with it comes to the PMP certification exam. So let's scroll down here. Nothing has changed. We have a domain, and then within that domain, there are tasks, and then associated with those tasks, those are enablers. They illustrate examples of the work associated with the task. Please note that enablers are not meant to exhaustive, be an exhaustive list that what you see here, but rather offer a few examples to help you demonstrate what the task encompass, like what you are actually doing in that task. So that's what you're seeing when you see the task statement within that domain and then the enablers. One thing that I noticed right away with the percentages changes that a PMI has decreased the amount of tasks within the people domain. The current exam, there are 14 tasks associated with the people domain, right? But one discrepancy or one thing that I have noticed, not a discrepancy, one observation that I have made is that some of those tasks that are listed are redundant, right? Some of them they to speak to the same topic. All right, so it's if you're mentoring stakeholders on projects, then there's a lot of things going on there. Conflict management with stakeholders, leadership with stakeholders, mentorship with stakeholders, collaboration with stakeholders, negotiation with stakeholders. That's 5 tasks within stakeholder engagement, right? Those are stakeholder engagement, big picture, stakeholder engagement tasks that are going on. So what I think PMI has done in this version is let's consolidate some of those because some of those are redundant, and that where we have a task list of items that are 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 succinct with the domain, and then can easily feed in into the other domains of the exam. So, for example, we have task 1 with people develop a common vision. I think that makes sense. Task 2, manage conflict management makes sense. Task 3, lead the project team. Okay, this is the leadership. Engage stakeholders, just like I mentioned. That's still leadership, right? And project team are stakeholders, and I would even say we could even combine those 2 tasks and just call it project projects stakeholder leadership engagement, something like that, because the project team members are stakeholders also, even though they separated. Everybody who has an interest or will be affected by the outcome of this project is a stakeholder. So from my perspective, I wouldn't even waste and try to split the 2. That would be implied. So one of the enablers would be a lead project team, engage stakeholders. That would be my consolidation of those 2 tasks. Just giving you an example like what I'm seeing that could be redundant when it comes to these tasks. So the next one, manage stakeholder expectations, help ensure knowledge transfer, plan and manage communication. So even in this list, I could even consolidate. We could probably consolidate task 3, task 4, task 5, task 6, and bring this down from 8 tasks to possibly just 4 tasks, right? Plan and manage communications, help ensure knowledge transfer. So Those are the tasks within this domain. And I was just, just to give you some context of where I was trying to go with that, bottom line is I want you to know this is theory. This is not, this is based off of theory and what has happened in the environment. This is based off of observation and environment. And this is how they develop these tasks over the years is just through following the literature and observing what's happening in the field and getting feedback from project managers that are out there throughout all industries. So that's where I wanted to make that point to show you that it's not perfect. Just just to be candid with you, it's not perfect. This is not like the holy grail. If you don't follow this, you're gonna die. No, this is a theory. This is a theory. This is all theory. Let's just remember that. However, for this exam, this is the theory they want you to know so you can pass it, right? This is what they want you to know. So as we scroll through this and moving on to processes, we see that there are 10 tasks associated with that. Develop an integrated project management plan and plan delivery, develop and manage project scope, help ensure value-based delivery, plan and manage resources, plan and manage procurement, plan and manage finance, plan and optimize quality products, plan and manage schedule, evaluate project status, manage project closer. And this sounds a little bit like the old exam where we focused on initiating, planning, execution, monitoring, controlling, close project or phase. So we've broken those down into 10 tasks. And that's what I see here. Manage project closure. That relates to the closing process group, all the activities that you must complete in order to close out a project or phase. Right? Evaluate project status, plan and manage schedule. Evaluate project status relates to the monitoring controlling process group where you are taking notes, observing, running tests, running inspections to make sure things are going as outline in the plan, whether it be predictive, an hybrid, or an agile approach to project management. Plan project schedule, plan optimize quality, plan. Anything you see with plan, that all relates to the planning process group of the project management framework, right? So we have those 5 process groups: initiating, planning, execution, monitoring, controlling, and close project or phase. So all these plan, manage resources, plan and manage procurement, plan and manage finance, plan and manage optimize quality, plan and manage schedule. All of those are speaking directly to the planning and process group when it comes to planning project. So task 3, help ensure value-based delivery, develop and manage project scope, develop, integrate. So develop and manage project scope, I would say that has a little bit of planning and then also execution. So we're going to develop project scope, we're going to define it, and then we're going to make a plan about it. And we're going to put that plan into action. And while we are executing that plan, we're going to monitor to make sure that everybody is adhering to the project scope. So help ensure value-based delivery. Help ensure value-based delivery. So that's once again you in the monitoring controlling process group making sure that the value is being delivered throughout all the project, no matter where we are, whether it be initiating, planning, execution, monitoring, controlling, or closed project or phase. And so that's 10. So it was 17 different tasks within that. And in the current exam outline dated, I think that was dated July 2021, right? So let's move into the business environment. One thing I noticed about the business environment, we're going from 4 tasks to 8 tasks. So we've added, let's say what, 22. Let me get my math right. We've added 18% to this exam or questions are geared towards the business environment. So we have 8 tasks. These tasks within this domain: define and establish project governance, plan and manage project compliance, manage and control charges, remove impediments and manage issues, plan and manage risks, continuous improvement, support organizational change, evaluate external business environment change. So here we are. You see some plans. Everything there is in planning realm. Then we have some things that we're doing in execution, plan and manage risks. That's plan the risk and manage the risk as we are in execution. So take some time to review this. It's about, let me see, this one, the last one, it's about 23 pages. Some of it is credits and other stuff. But this is new. Okay, let's do this. So before, and this is what I see. So let's back up a little bit. Let me back up a little bit. So the next section is the eligibility requirements, right? Do you even qualify to take this exam, right? Do you need that time, right? So it says here, if you have a high school diploma and that's all you have, you need at least 60 months, 5 years, a non-overlapping experience leading projects in the past 10 years. So in the past 10 years, if you don't have a bachelor's degree or a master's degree, all you have is a high school diploma and you've been leading and managing projects over the last 10 years, you need to show 60 months of actual project management experience when you fill out your application. Or if you have completed a higher certificate or advanced course that maps to their criteria, then you only need 48 months of training, right? Or 4 years. You only need 48 months. Now, if you have a bachelor's or higher graduate degree, then you only need 36 months, right? You need 36 months of a non overlapping experience leading to projects in the last 10 years. So for the last 10 years is what they're looking at. So if you don't have that experience over the last 10 years, then your time will not qualify. But also, if you have a bachelor's or postgraduate degree, right, awarded by the program under the PMI's Global Accreditation Center, that they've been had identified your program is meeting that criteria, then you only need 24 months of and 2 years of non-overlapping time over the past 10 years to be qualified to take this exam. So that is the difference between having a bachelor's just from any field. But if you've taken a actual project management specific degree work geared to project management, that takes off 12 months of experience when it comes to being qualified to take this exam. So read that here on page 13. Make sure you qualify. And if you don't, and then see what you need to do to get your time and work experience up so you can actually take this exam. So it gives you all the information about the postgraduate courses and the program that will help you, and the program that is associated with it, making sure that your degree work is approved. So now let's go to this part where I see the exam certification information. Nothing's changed here. You got 170 questions. 10 questions are like experimental exams. So you have 180 questions and you have 240 minutes. So nothing's changed there. That's major. But what I see in this, they used to have this before, but what I think they've done better with this exam content outline, it shows you the type of questions that will be on the exam. So you have case or scenario questions, right? Then you have enhanced matching questions. Then you have graphics. This is a new graphic based questions. Then you have your normal multiple choice, multiple response questions, uh, point and click questions. So your graphs, and then you have matching, and then a pull down list, right? So what they've given us in this version, of the exam content outline and this new exam, there are not just multiple 180 multiple choice questions. So you have graphics, you have drag and drop, fill in the blank, different selection questions. So all types of ways for them to present the information so you understand. One thing I would tell you to really capitalize on the matching questions. Most of the time with a matching or drag and drop, there's going to be some type of definition. So that's why it's very important to understand the lexicon and, for example, understand those project management theories like Maslow's hierarchy of needs or Tuckman's ladder, where they talk about forming, storming, norming, performing, and then adjourning, right? So you might have a drop down that says, hey, here's, forming, storming, norming, performing, and adjourning. And like, which one of those will you drag the definition? So you need to know what those definitions are so you could correctly drag the right definition to the right lexicon term. So overall, those are the changes I see with this project management exam content outline. Get your copy. There's a copy on pmi.org. You could do a quick Google search. And then if you're watching this video, there's a link I'm going to share here for you. You could get that in the description or down below wherever this video is posted. And you will be able to get your hands on the copy of the exam content outline. So I'm Chris McPhee. I'm here in the Wolf Pack. If you'd like to join the Wolf Pack, it's free to join. This is the place where you can prepare within a group for the PMP certification exam. There is over 500 members here. And if you have a question, you could post it within the group, or you could actually search to see who's been talking about that topic and what they said about it. So please join the group. It's free to join, and just introduce yourself and you will be able to prepare. Excuse me. You will be able to prepare for the exam, not by yourself, right? It's lonely out there. So this is an opportunity to study in a group and around like-minded individuals, and you can share ideas and see different perspectives on how to go about preparing for the exam and actually answering the exam questions. So that's all I have for you. Please reach out to me if you have any questions about the PMP certification exam, and I'll see you later.